Long time no see. I'm vlogging sitting down again because I didn't mind this angle last time I used it, so we're gonna use it some more. So I went and saw the Avengers last week, and I am really unsure still how I feel about it. And I know there's all this hype surrounding it, like it was so amazing and oh my goodness and awesome and shiny and money and box office records broken and awesome amazing stuff, but personally I just don't see where the hype is in it. It was a good enough movie, but it wasn't mind-blowing. Probably for me, the biggest problem is the genre. Superhero movies. Don't get me wrong, I like my share of superheroes, but I don't usually like the let's run around in tights with a cape and save the world type superheroes. I find those types of superheroes kind of two-dimensional and boring. The stories are never all that interesting because you have very clear-cut superhero is good, supervillain is bad, good and bad, black and white, no gray area. It's obvious who is right and who is wrong. There is no second guessing ourselves, and so there's really no character development and therefore not that interesting to me. I tend to like the more subtle superheroes where they have superhuman abilities or something about them gives the ability to save people, and so they do, but they don't necessarily run around in tights and save the world. For example, even Iron Man was kind of a subtle superhero at the beginning where he wasn't so much like gung-ho, let's save the world right from the beginning. He was just a guy that made this suit and then realized that he could use it for good and then used it for good. That's character development. That's actually kind of interesting. Walking into the Avengers, it's clear which type of superhero movie this is. The adopted brother is the bad guy. The Avengers are the good guys. We already know who's gonna win. We already know what side we're rooting for. There's no gray area, so there's no character development and nothing interesting really happens on that field. And so since the characters weren't struggling as characters, since the characters weren't really in a place where they have to second guess themselves and grow as people, not as superhumans, I just didn't connect to them. I didn't connect to the characters at all. I didn't really care about the characters, which I know you're not going to get endless amounts of character development and amazing plot and metaphor and theme and all of those things in a superhero movie, but you need to at least care about the characters. So yeah, you might be wondering, if you don't like superhero movies, why'd you go see the movie to begin with? Well, I had to go and see it because it's written and directed by Joss Whedon, the guy who made Angel and Buffy and Firefly and all of the good shows. He's known for his character, and he's known for his amazing plots and his snappy dialogue and his metaphor and all of these things. So I was hoping he would be able to make a superhero movie with a bit more than ridiculously muscled human beings with CG and explosions. And I mean, some things were done really well. Some things did fulfill my expectations, but the character thing just sort of blows it for me. Like, for example, the dialogue. I loved the dialogue. The dialogue was just like, it's almost like every time there was a snappy one-liner, every time there was a funny line, Joss Whedon just sort of signed his name. It was just kind of like a signature every single time. Also, shawarma. I don't know if anybody else noticed that shawarma line as a reference to the casting of Xander in Buffy, but I did, and that's what I got it as. And I just laughed so hard that most people in the theater looked at me funny during that line. So the dialogue was really good. That didn't let me down. That certainly didn't let me down. It was hilarious. There are certain elements of the plot that were actually well done. Can you imagine taking characters from all of these stories that you didn't have any hand in and trying to bring all of these very different characters together in a natural way? The first fight where nobody seemed to really be working together and everything was going wrong because everybody was almost fighting each other. And then after that, they find a rallying point and then they manage to work together. That sort of series of events leading up to them actually working together was well done, because it wasn't the cheesy, let's work together and be friends as soon as we meet crap that I was kind of expecting would happen, because that's the way superhero movies usually work. So we have two good things. We have relatively good plot in a very difficult situation, and we have amazing dialogue. But the characters, I just didn't connect to any of the characters very well. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm looking for something that superhero movies just can't offer, which is character development. Maybe I'm just looking for too much in a movie that just can't offer what I'm looking for. But I mean, in any movie, shouldn't you be able to connect to the characters and care about them on some level?